Ozovic come through, and just to prevent, I mean, Ozovic is pulling at him, just to prevent any.
McKenzie plays it in, gets it right back to Ramsey Terminini. Weisenhunt's across. Whoa! Hold up! Ramsey Terminini from the circle.
And just like that, Jenga is back in this match. What a shot from Terminini from deep.
My.
Unbelievable. He unleashes just power.
Placement to the upper 90 back post, and the lead is ultimately asking the question, like, was this the best match of futsal on U.S. soil? From a perspective of an entire 40 minutes of futsal, two teams that are playing really good futsal. It's back and forth, but not because it's chaotic.
The intensity just kept increasing.
Yeah.
And it started at kickoff.
Very little drop-off or mistake, and they just keep playing that really good futsal. This is what it's supposed to look like right here. There's no doubt that the environment, it's a part of what makes the game what it is. But I think, like, this is a game that if you took all that away and you just watched the game, it would be amazing still. They're currently down 2. Here's Hindich at the near post. She slots it in. What a placement.
Yeah, fantastic.
From number 9,
placement.
Medina Hindich. So we take another look.
That's what,
wow.
You know, Ole has to be frustrated with the goalkeeping.
I was pleasantly surprised with how we did. I feel like we did compete to the level that we could. I think you could definitely tell, like, our lack of experience. I think some of our goals were generally just some mistakes, and I think it's like a combination of nerves and just not, having the experience playing at the pace that we were playing. It's really fast, and I think if we tighten that up, like, we could have, stayed really, like, there with them, which is cool. I think for our first game, especially going against a team like Ole, I was really proud of the way we played.
Yeah.
Made a fantastic play. You want to make that pass to the back foot and really give your teammate an opportunity just to slide it home first time, but Aldama was not able to handle it.
Midwest are able to work it up. How about this back post? A pretty goal. Raul Montañez doubles the lead.
Look, Aldama could not handle the pass to put it away himself, so he said, you know what, Montañez, I'm going to give it back to you, Raul. With a little back heel flick, just roll over, give it back to him. Montañez ending the attack.
Kleppel now with it. Space inside. Shot. He finds the back of the net. Lansing City up by 1.
We haven't said it yet this season, but what a rocket from Jeremy Kleppel across.
Lyle turning his back, trying to get in front of it and also protect himself as Kleppel finds the side net and gives Lansing.
Nice run out of here, Lansing City. Oh, excellent play. Lansing City with a goal. We were just talking about Ole's ability to make the extra pass, and wouldn't you know it, Lansing City does the same exact thing.
Like, if I'm a fan of Midwest and I watch that game, and we have what I would be, in my opinion, one of the best keepers in the league. And he's not playing the second half.
And to Marco, what we saw, he gave up 6 goals. Vicario was in there for 20 minutes. First half, didn't give up any. And so, like, that's a huge disparity. Sliding tackle, and if Montez saved that, outstanding effort as well.
Lansing City in the attack, moving it. Blanco, did he make it? He did, says the referee. Goal number 4 for Lansing City. They pull ahead.
It was a pass to Blanco.
Yeah, Blanco
got it.
Yeah, Blanco touched it. Did you hear me say Blanco puts it away? That's all right. It hit the inside back post. I just have to mention before we move on here, that game was so amazing. You know how many players under the age of 20 were a part of it?
A lot.
Oh my goodness.
A lot of them.
Ethan Castaneda, there's been times where something that he does in the game is exposed, or mistakes and things like that, he was amazing in this game. Last week against Jinga he was, and in this game he played really well, and I think the things that Lansing City have been investing in are starting to pay off. Gomez putting heavy pressure on. And here he is. He finishes. Olé go up by 1.
And when you think about the addition of Daniel De Leon and what he means to this team, we told you that he was the assist leader last season. The goal, outstanding effort from De Leon to create that. Really good positioning and understanding.
We're ticking down to the final moments. Shoreline City trying to put something together. Aldoni Mendez, he's sealing off Hasevic's toe poke, finds the back of the net. Shoreline's up by 1 with a minute to play.
Wow, Aldoni Mendez just showing his intelligence to shield the ball, to not let Hasevic come through, and just to prevent, I mean, Hasevic is pulling at him, just prevent any.
Mackenzie plays it in, gets it right back. Ramsey Termanini. Weisenhunt's across. Whoa! Hold up! Ramsey Termanini from the circle.
And just like that, Jinga is back in this match. What a shot from Termanini from deep.
My.
Unbelievable. He unleashes just power.
Placement to the upper 90 back post, and the lead is ultimately asking the question, like, was this the best match of futsal on U.S. soil? From a perspective of an entire 40 minutes of futsal, 2 teams that are playing really good futsal. It's back and forth, but not because it's chaotic.
The intensity just kept increasing.
Yeah.
And it started at kickoff.
Very little drop off or mistake, and they just keep playing that really good futsal. This is what it's supposed to look like right here. There's no doubt that the environment, it's a part of what makes the game what it is. But I think like this is a game that if you took all that away and you just watched the game, it would be amazing still. They're currently down 2. Here's Hindich at the near post. She slots it in. What a placement.
Yeah, fantastic
from number 9,
placement.
Medina Hindich. We take another look.
That's what,
wow.
You know, Olé has to be frustrated with the goalkeeping.
I was pleasantly surprised with how we did. I feel like we did compete to the level that we could. I think you could definitely tell, like, our lack of experience. I think some of our goals were generally just some mistakes, and I think it's like a combination of nerves and just not, you know, having the experience playing at the pace that we were playing. It's really fast, and I think if we tighten that up, like, we could have, you know, stayed really, like, there with them, which is cool. I think for our first game, especially going against a team like Olé, I was really proud of the way we played.
Yeah.
Made a fantastic play. You know, you want to make that pass to the back foot and really give your teammate an opportunity just to slide it home first time, but Aldama was not able to handle it.
Midwest are able to work it up. How about this back post? A pretty goal. Raul Montañez doubles the lead.
Look, Aldama could not handle the pass to put it away himself, so he said, you know what, Montañez, I'm going to give it back to you, Raul. With a little back heel flick, just roll over, give it back to him. Montañez ending the attack.
Kleppel now with it. Space inside. Shot. He finds the back of the net. Lansing City up by 1.
We haven't said it yet this season, but what a rocket from Jeremy Kleppel across.
Lyle turning his back, trying to get in front of it and also protect himself as Kleppel finds the side net and gives Lansing.
Nice run out of here, Lansing City. Oh, excellent play. Lansing City with a goal. We were just talking about Ole's ability to make the extra pass, and wouldn't you know it, Lansing City does the same exact thing.
Like, if I'm a fan of
There were 3 red cards in that game.
3 red cards. You could see it on their faces, like they would hit the post again, and they'd be like, "What is happening?"
And they only gave up 4 goals?
But it wasn't competitive.
In 40 minutes?
It wasn't competitive.
4 goals!
A sign that a fan has made, a fan of Down Futsal made it. Chicago House is grabbing the sign, holding it up, and they're passing it around.
The ball sticks to his feet. Like, I don't think that you should have seen him at practice last night. He was just toying with us. I ain't gonna lie.
What level of crazy do you need to be a goalkeeper in futsal?
11. 11. No one woke up one day and said, I want to be a keeper today. I didn't want to be a goalie.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the third half here on this amazing Thursday night. Weekend of some amazing games coming up. One in particular that I'm circling, and we get to hear from a couple of people from both sides in that one tonight. Very excited. Later on, we're going to be hearing from one of the players of Chicago House, Vinni DaSilva. That's coming up right around 8:45 p.m. EST. But first, I'd like to welcome to the show a man who's been a part of the FCS for quite some time, before the broadcast era, you could say, and in a couple different forms. First, with a core group of guys in Midwest, and then created their own club in their first year as a club in the FCS, winning the championship. Ladies and gentlemen, please join me in welcoming Coach Pearse Branigan of Detroit Imperial. Pearse, thanks so much for joining the show tonight.
Yeah, thanks for having me, Jared. It's a pleasure to be here.
Well, I'm really excited for you to come and just tell us a little bit about what's going on with Detroit Imperial. You guys had a big win last weekend. Got a big game coming up this weekend. But before we get into any of that stuff, I'd love to hear about how you got involved in futsal. And we were talking before on air. You told me that when you went to college, you were studying not being a coach in futsal originally, right?
Correct, yeah. So when I went into college, I was planning to study meteorology. And it happened to be, I didn't really know where I was going to go to school yet. I thought I was going to go to Central Michigan University. And my brother ended up signing for Madonna men's soccer team. And at the signing, their head coach, Mark Zathy, he's like, "Hey, what are you doing for college? You know, we need help with the men's program. You want to come be a part of it?" It's like, "Sure, why not? I'll check it out." And after a year of being involved with the men's program, I was like, "Yeah, this is what I want to do for a living." I switched my degree to sports management. Finished my 4 years there with the soccer team the entire time, and I graduated in 2020, so I didn't get to walk. It was peak COVID.
Oh yeah.
That's how it goes sometimes, right? And then fate had it that I met up with Davide and Francois for the first time, and then from there, the rest is history, as they say. So we've come a long way. It's crazy to think that that's going back 6 years now already.
Wow, since the first time you met them?
Yeah, pretty much. Yep.
What was that?
Probably 2020 or 2021.
Okay. Wow. So what was when did you how did you meet them?
Well, my brother will tell you that I have him to thank for my career that I'm doing right now, because he got me to go to Madonna, and then he was the one who was actually going. Midwest was having drop-ins at the time, like during COVID when no one else was meeting, and he was participating in these drop-ins. So he was the one who was like, "Hey, you need to come with me to one of these drop-ins, check these guys out." From there, that's kind of how I went. I went to a drop-in, met with Francois and Davide, and became a part of their club. And then obviously Davide and I parted ways with Francois. I think we're going back 3 years now. 2023 was when we founded the club. And it's been great now running our own thing and been successful. Like you mentioned, winning the league in our first season was a huge success for us.
Yeah, that was certainly a big moment, and I know you guys are looking to get back there this season after missing it last year. You're currently at 4-1, and you're eyeing the top of the table with the game this weekend. Still getting a little ahead of myself on that. Let's dial it back a little bit before we get to the super exciting stuff. tell me a little bit about your early years when you guys were still Midwest. What was it like getting, going from that place where you're playing drop-in and you meet Davide, and then you guys are now you get to the point where you're competing in the FCS. Bridge that gap for me. What was that like for you guys?
That's a good question because my role wasn't always as the head coach.
Okay.
I was more of a general manager in a sense. I was handling more admin side of the club. And then when we were invited to be one of the members of the FCS, it was different. We had been competing in tournaments and whatnot. Like we had gone to a regionals and I think we had gone to a nationals as well. So we were used to kind of competing with players of that level. But joining the FCS, it was a switch. We were playing we had played in the past in the NFPL at the time, which switched to the FCS. So didn't really know what to expect off the bat. So it was an adjustment, but I think the good thing was the core group of guys that we had there and the core group that we still have with Imperial today, they're ready to play whenever and whenever. So it doesn't matter if it's FCS, a pickup game. We play hard against each other on a training night, So we're ready to go, and that wasn't too much of an adjustment for us when we joined.
Yeah, that reminds me, I'll take a little side path here for a moment. One of the things that I feel like has marked your guys' team going back to last year, and really for me, I mostly only in considering things since the start of last year because that's when I really started to understand and remember things in the league. So when I say that, I kind of mean last year and this year. But one of the things that's marked you guys has been, like you mentioned, I think you mentioned before, you guys practice like 4 or 5 nights a week. You're kind of always like ready to go. Tell me about that culture and that environment that exists there where you guys are just like, I don't know if this is how it is, but I just imagine there being like a group chat and it's like, hey, you guys want to play, at this place at this time, like let's go. And it's like everyone's in, you're ready to go. Tell me a little bit about that culture.
Yeah, I mean, when we first started, it was a lot like that. We were actually playing on an old tennis court, outdoor tennis court in Dearborn, and we just pull up and play until the lights turned off. Obviously, since then, Imperial's running football sala, so we have like a home base to train. So things are a little more structured now. Myself or Davide will, remind the team that we're having a training tonight. But yeah, when the guys pull up, most days, there's 20 plus guys there ready to train. Some guys who will never be on the FCS roster because they don't want to play or they got too much work, they're not unavailable, and then the core group of rostered players who are preparing each week, and couldn't do it without any of them. But I think to sum it up is we could, especially during the summer, we were just doing a lot of scrimmaging, less organized practice, more just play. We'd scrimmage for like 2 hours and we'd end the practice and there'd be a group of guys that would start playing 3v3 because they weren't done yet. So they still wanted more.
Wow.
I'm sure if I asked the guys to train 7 days a week, they would, but that's too much. They need their rest.
Yeah, it's probably a good thing. So going into your guys' first year at Detroit Imperial, you had the split with Midwest. You make your own thing. Detroit Imperial 2023, 2024. You guys win the FCS. What was that year like? The first year, if I understand, you and Davide kind of at the helm of Detroit Imperial. Is that correct?
Yeah, correct.
Yeah.
So it was an adjustment, not so much on the court with the men's team, because actually the last year we were at Midwest, I was the head coach of the team, and I think we made the final and lost to Migos, which is now Midwest United.
Yeah.
But so that was a comfortable transition in a sense. The group continued training. They were kind of used to how I approach games at this point and the coaching style I bring. I think the big thing was we started a youth academy as well. We built, we thought we were going to have one team, youth academy. It quickly turned into 3. So now we're trying to balance, okay, you have the men's schedule and you have the youth schedule. They're doing all these tournaments and sometimes they conflict. So that was an adjustment for us. I think there was a couple games, and we're used to it now, but there was a couple games where, we would have a tournament in Grand Rapids, and then we drove back for a game in, Lansing area, because a lot of the games were still played at the arena at the time. So we were coaching all day. We would drive to Lansing and then drive back out at Grand Rapids to coach in the morning.
Wow.
But it was great. And now we're used to it. The academy's grown. We're at 6 teams now. So we've doubled our numbers, and it's growing year over year. I think we're going to grow, even more next year. So it's been great. And, Davide and I have done a good job of finding out what really works, how to maintain and manage the schedules. I think it helps too now that the clubs get some sort of input in their scheduling.
Yeah.
So
yeah, absolutely.
That's been a huge help.
Yeah. Tell me a little bit about your experience in coaching the youth. This is something that has really come. I feel like the last 3 or 4, maybe more guests we've brought on the third half, there's some involvement in coaching youth teams that has come out that has been a really cool thing to see. So I kind of want to pose that question to you: is tell me a little bit about your experience with the youth teams and the what you love about coaching the youth.
I love coaching the youth. That's actually how, aside from Madonna, I had started coaching outdoor soccer, and then obviously futsal when we formed the youth academy. But it's a joy. The kids are so much fun to work with. We have a very good group of kids that come in, they're attentive. You tell them, you show them how to do it, and they're trying to do it right away. The best part for me, and I think for any coach would say this as well, is when you can start seeing it pay off, right? So, for example, we've our under 14s team, boys team, they've been with us, the core group, for 3 years now. First year they lost pretty much every game. Second year they won 4 or 5 games. This year they made a semifinal and a final, and they still haven't won a championship, but to see the progress, and now the kids can feel it as well. So there's more desire to get even sharper, train even harder,
Wow.
So for me, that's a beautiful thing, because you can see that you're having an impact, a positive one, on the youth, the next generation of players,
Yeah.
So I stopped playing myself because I had a bad experience with a coach. So that's I'm trying to make sure that no kids have that.
Yeah. Wow, dude, what an amazing thing. That is so cool that I know it goes for people, lots of people coaching, youth futsal, but it's so cool that is your piece in it, that you're hey, I'm going to make someone else's experience different. Dude, that is amazing. I love that. That's so cool.
Yeah, and at the end of the day, I think we got to realize a lot, the majority of the kids are coaching, the vast play they're going to do is for fun and for memories, right? Obviously they want to play at the highest level and be the best they can be, but only a slim fraction is going to make it at the top level. So to leave a lasting impact, you're not also coaching players, you're coaching people, and how you interact with them, and the core values you give them could be the difference between them growing up and being a well-adjusted member of society, I guess. I don't know, it sounds cliche, but it is true. So it's more than just an impact on the court, it's off the court. You're building a human being in a sense, and it's a beautiful thing.
That's really awesome. That's really cool. If I understand correctly, I think do you guys have some teams in the Futures League as well?
Yeah, so that under 14s team is competing in Futures.
Okay, awesome. Yep. So we'll get to see them on the court. And if you guys are watching, we do plan to do FCS Future streams over the course of the season. Not every game, but I do believe in the course of the season we are trying to get at least every team in one game. So if you are on that team or you want to watch that team, keep a lookout for which games are going to be live streamed, because it's going to be coming to your TV, which is really exciting. So moving on from the youth thing, let's go back to your experience with Detroit Imperial. So after that first season, that brings you guys to last year. Last year, you guys make it to the semifinal, lose to Olay, and actually was watching earlier. We had a little interview with you after that game, kind of upcoming, what was to come, and it was like, hey, we're going to, clean some things up. We're going to, have everyone, our core group is going to be here for the whole season, and we're going to see where that leads us. And now you guys are sitting at 4-1. You had a big win against Lansing this last weekend. Tell me about how you guys are feeling right now in this season so far.
Yeah, the team's feeling really, really good. Obviously we're a little upset we let points slip against Jenga. I think in like the last 40 seconds of the game.
Yeah,
which,
it was 30 seconds. 30.
Yeah,
it was literally one of the best finishes. But 30 seconds goal, 7 seconds goal, and obviously a heartbreaker to lose.
It was one of those where we were in the locker room just wondering like what even happened. It took us almost 20 minutes to process it. But it happens. It's futsal. It's life.
Yeah.
But
it took Rumasek some time to process too. And after he scored, I mean, he went down and he's like in tears. I mean, this was like a huge thing,
Yeah. I mean, it's a huge. I love playing Jenga. They're a great team to play. They bring a very positive attitude towards the game. So, it's always. From a personal level, it's nice to see their hard work pay off, but also you're like, man, we blew it. I can't believe we did that.
Yeah.
But then again, you look at the game as a whole, we didn't. Yeah, we had the lead for like 2 minutes.
Yeah. You guys were fighting back.
Arguably, it could be said we didn't deserve to win. And along the stretch of the game, when you make some mistakes like we did, which is just like very basic mistakes, and it happens. You have an off game, you pass the ball, and you don't pass it hard enough, it gets countered and scored on. It's the game, it's life. What are you going to do? But no, the group is feeling really good. We spent a lot of time in the off season really rebuilding the core group. We set some standards this year. We were having some issues last year with player behavior and availability and whatnot. So if you're not fitting within that standard, you do not have room to play for Imperial. As simple as that. And it doesn't matter how good of a player you are. The team has to come first now. The team has a goal, and either we're all rowing in the same direction and we'll achieve our goal, or the ship will sink.
Yeah.
And I think we saw that on some of the games last year, like that semifinal, like you mentioned, against Olay. Half the group that we took to that semifinal in Olay didn't show up to training that week.
Wow.
Whether availability or whatnot. Now everyone who's traveling is showing up to training, at least 3 days a week. We're training 4 days a week right now. So
yeah,
it feels like a team again. We're playing for each other. We're really doing our best to go forward and get results. And, at the end of the day, if we put our best foot out there and the result doesn't go our way, like at least we can be proud of what we did. But I definitely felt after that Olay semifinal last year that we could have given more, and that's a terrible feeling to have.
Yeah, well, that definitely sounds like the kind of decision that is not easy to make, because that it's one that probably it's kind of like you're standing for something, like hey, we're standing on this, that like we if you're going to be on this team, you have to have these kind of values, and it's like it's okay if you don't, but like you have to do this. That's not like an easy thing to do. I'm sure it caused some disruption in your roster and things, but it's looking like it's turned out really well for you guys.
Yeah, I mean, it was an adjustment period, right? Obviously there's some notable names from the past who we've relied on that haven't seen a lot of playing time this year, right?
Yeah.
And there's always an adjustment period towards that. We brought new guys, like Amin, like Kevin, that very talented players, but they got to kind of learn to play with the veterans in a sense. So there was an adjustment period for sure. And I think having some of the opening games be, I wouldn't say easier, because there's no easy futsal game, but you're playing in Innovation City. They're a fresh team in the league, so like for us, it's kind of like, okay, we can kind of get our feet going in a sense and all moving in the same direction. So
yeah,
it's a lot of work. They've been training hard at it, but I'm happy with the results we've put up so far.
That's awesome. And speaking of results, let's jump into a couple specifics. First, the game you guys just played against Lansing. In my mind, I felt like this was a really big moment for you guys. It was kind of like a phase shift, right? You had your first 4 games all against the same opponents. You mentioned Innovation City at the bottom of the table. It's their first year. They're doing hard things. Results are not going their way. And then Jinga right now are at the middle of the table. And so after that moment, you guys have, I think it was close to a month and a half break, and then you play Lansing at home, and it kicks off this stretch, which I think I pulled it up earlier. It's Lansing, and then, of course, Chicago House this weekend, which we'll get to, but then Olay twice, Shoreline, and Midwest. So the second half of the season, you're starting to see more opponents either that you faced a lot in the past or are at the top of the standings. So I felt like this one was like a really big moment for you guys this past weekend. What enabled you guys to come out on top in the game against Lansing?
I think a lot of it was the feeling of disappointment that we had against Jinga. Like, it was almost a lesson we needed to learn, especially with the new guys that we've integrated in the team.
Yeah.
Like, hey, we can lose. It's actually very easy to lose if you're not playing correctly. So that definitely played into it. And then, of course, Lansing's been one of our longest rivals, if you look at the course of Midwest and then Imperial. So there was just a drive, like, we have to win this game.
Yeah.
We have to win this game. We're seeing the votes come in on like the most recent podcasts and stuff like that. And people are like, Imperial won't win. It's like, all right, it's okay. You guys can doubt us. It's fine. We'll go and we'll prove you wrong. And I thought we did a good job of that. But like you mentioned, we have a very busy schedule in a sense. Definitely a lot of hard teams. Chicago looks, they're looking a lot better. And then Olay is Olay. And Shoreline has been, I think, the standout this season as far as their results. And, even Midwest, they're not having the best of seasons, but any given day, they're a very solid team. So, really, I told the group this game for us is really make or break. We beat Lansing, and, we can move forward and go game by game, or we lose to Lansing and, you might as well, if we can't beat Lansing, we're going to struggle against the other teams, So the guys bought into that mentality. Like, we have to win this game no matter what. We have to go and we have to do it. So it was great to see. It was entertaining as well. It's always fun, watching and coaching. So
yeah. What was that like for you? A couple of questions here on this game. The way the game went, you guys go down 1-0 and then 7 straight. And then for the rest of the game, it's I think it ended up 8-6. So for the rest of the game, it's 5-1. What was that like for you guys, where you get out to this big lead, and then it's like over the course of the game, it's slowly diminishing? Were you guys getting to a point where it's like let's stop the bleeding? Like, we can't let them back in anymore.
Yeah, there was a point in the game actually, when we got up so large of a lead, I wanted to put some of the less experienced guys in, quote unquote, like your third string players in a sense, right? Just let them play, go and play. And there was a point where all of a sudden the referee said, you guys were at 5 fouls. I was like, wait a minute. I don't remember seeing 5 fouls, and there was still, I think, almost 10 minutes left in the game. And then, you concede a free shot to someone like Jeremy, like he's going to score. So, all of a sudden we had a 7-goal lead, and then it was a 4-goal lead. And we're like, okay, we don't want to slip again. So then we started rotating some of the guys back in, but I'm glad we saw it out, but definitely room for improvement. I think, from the lesser experienced guys, they got to get comfortable playing, of course. There's always going to be a learning curve. I think from our more experienced guys, I think they were just so happy of the job that they had done to be 7-1, 8-2 up against Lansing, that when they went back in, they were almost like too excited, too happy, and switched off in a sense. So it's an easy fix, but it's a good lesson to learn as well, because, like you said, a big stretch of games here, you can't switch off against anyone.
Yeah, and we'll get to those games in just a second. But first, I just wanted to say, one of the players that really hit me last season for you guys that was new last year, and I think his impact has been huge and was huge, I think, in this game was Emerson Mena. How valuable has it been for you guys to strike gold in this amazing goalkeeper who has tons of experience? And I think he had almost, I think he was somewhere in the range of like 25 saves in this game. What's it been like having him on the squad?
Yeah, Emerson's incredible, and I think I would argue we've always been blessed with a good roster of goalkeepers. Between Michael Forbes and Christian Sipley and now Emerson, but the real difference is Emerson's there. He's here like every day. Forbes has been injured. He's coming off a broken foot. We're trying to integrate him back into the team. You saw he got some minutes over the last Lansing game, right? And then Christian comes when he can. He's working a lot. So to have somebody who's just like always there, and not only is he always there, he's reliably stopping shots. It helps you breathe a little bit, when you're not on the ball. It's like, okay, hey, if they do score, either it was off of like Lansing's first goal, it was off of one of our mistakes, it was poor clearance, or they really had to work for it. So
Yeah,
he's been a huge pickup for us. I think he brings sort of comfort to the team. Like, hey, if we do get beat, like we can rely on our goalkeeper. Now more than ever, and not saying we haven't been able to rely on our goalkeepers in the past. Like I said, Forbes and Christian, phenomenal goalkeepers.
Yeah.
I think Emerson's just, out of the three of them, he's the purest shot stopper of them all. Like,
Yeah.
it's just, it seems very hard to score on him. Even watching him in training, where he's not like going 100%, it's like it's hard to score on him.
Yeah.
So it's nice to have a depth in the goalkeepers now.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I mean, absolutely. It's no disrespect to any of those keepers or any other goalkeeper in the league, but to me, Emerson Mena is another level, man. Like, he's just some of the saves he makes are incredible, and he's been just in my mind just a standout player for you guys last year and this year, and I always love. I mean, it's just watching him play. He's incredible. Awesome. So let's, in our last few minutes here, let's transition to the game you guys have coming up. This one is going to be against Chicago House, which, a reminder for everyone watching, next segment in about 10 minutes or so, we're going to be bringing on Vinni DaSilva of Chicago House. So don't go anywhere. But first, let's get Coach Pearse Branigan's take on what's to come in this game. Setting the stage, Chicago House 2-5. They've won 2 in a row after an 0-5 start, beating both Lansing and Midwest. Two teams that playing early in the year were looking very good. And now you guys are at 4-1 facing this surging Chicago House team. What's the outlook for you guys this weekend on the road?
It's mixed, right? Like we're looking to go and just play our game and have a very strong performance. But we haven't played Chicago House before, and so a lot of what we're basing our game plan off of is solely off of film from their other games. And I figured after watching them in your guys' summer showcase that they were going to be a decent squad, and you could see in their first couple games that it didn't look like they had all of their players. From my understanding, they're going pretty deep in their outdoor season. So now some of those players have came across, and I think it's going to be a very high-level game. I'm anticipating a good back-and-forth game. I think, of course, I always got to back my team. I think experience is a huge thing when it comes to futsal. We've been doing this for a while. We know how to adapt in certain situations where they might not. I'm looking forward to it. It's going to be a great game. They're picking up heat. They're looking like a solid squad, and I think it's a good test for us to play them. And then we're moving on to Olay the next game. So there's no more small games, in my opinion. It's all uphill from here, and that's an incredible feeling to be a part of. You always want to play against the best, and I think Chicago's gearing up to make a late run in their season. I just think it's a shame they've already played like 70% of their games, you know.
Yeah.
But it happens. It is what it is. So I think it's going to be very high level. I'm expecting a good back and forth. They seem to have a lot of skilled players. So I think it's just going to come down to who's more organized and who can adjust in key moments during the game.
Well, it looks like right now the chat is full of Chicago House fans, so you're outnumbered right now. But
No
I guess
worries.
maybe a little test for when you guys go on the road and being outnumbered there as well. But what do you think for you guys? And then we'll probably move on after this. Kind of final comments. What do you feel like is going to be the key in this match for you guys to come away with 3 points?
I think the key for us is going to be just our defensive structure. You know, it's we got to continue to work on being solid offensively and defensively. And we've seen, like, even in games where we're winning, we still concede more goals than I'm comfortable with. Even against a team like Innovation, we score 10 goals and we concede 4. So, like, we're giving unnecessary shots up. You see Emerson's got like an average of 20+ saves a game.
Yeah.
You know, so how do we get it so Emerson doesn't have to do that? You know, we know he can do it when needed, but how can we prevent him getting as many shots? So I think for us, we're real focused on our defensive structure, you know, both in our own half and then in the opposing half. And I'm confident in our players' ability to produce and perform and create offensively. So I really think it's going to come down to our defensive structure, our defensive organization.
Well, that one is this weekend in Chicago, Saturday, 8 p.m. Eastern. We're going to get the other side of the equation and get Vinni DaSilva in here in just a moment. But for you guys, just even looking up past Chicago House, we mentioned it a couple times. Olay is your next game the very next weekend on Friday. I think you're playing, every weekend until the end of February. It's Olay, Shoreline, Midwest, and Olay again after the Chicago House. So based on, kind of a little bit of a gauntlet, it looks like, to end the season here. So a big one for Detroit Imperial going into Chicago House. Ladies and gentlemen, Coach Pearse Branigan of Detroit Imperial. Pearse, thanks so much for joining us on the show tonight. Any final comments or thoughts before we send you off?
No, I appreciate you having me. It's time to get ready for training.
Yeah, time to get ready for training, he says.
So,
yeah.
No, but again, thank you. It's been a pleasure. I could talk all day about my club. Obviously, I don't think the chat wants to hear me talk all day, but I enjoyed it. So thank you.
You got it, man. Well, we're going to head to a quick commercial break. Say see you later to Coach Pearse Branigan. And on the other side, we have Vinni DaSilva, so don't go anywhere.
And there were 3 red cards.
We're ticking down to the final moments. Shoreline City trying to put something together. Aldoni Mendez, he's sealing off Hasevic's toe poke, finds the back of the net. Shoreline's up by 1 with a minute to play.
Wow, Aldoni Mendez just showing his intelligence to shield the ball, to not let Hasevic come through, and just to prevent, Hasevic is pulling at him, just prevent any.
Committing a crime so you can try to escape from prison. Bad idea. Go into the pod escape room to play an escape game with your friends. Great idea. Test your skill as an astronaut in outer space. Find Santa in Save Christmas. Or take a vacation to an abandoned island. Just don't get stuck there. The Pod Escape Room. Learn more at thepodlansing.com.
Kenzie plays it in, gets it right back to Ramsey Terminini. Weisenhunt's across. Whoa! Hold up! Ramsey Terminini from the circle.
And just like that, Jenga is back in this match. What a shot from Terminini from deep.
My.
Unbelievable. He unleashes just power.
Placement to the upper 90 back post, and the lead is ultimately asking the question, like, was this the best match of futsal on U.S. soil? From a perspective of an entire 40 minutes of futsal, two teams that are playing really good futsal. It's back and forth, but not because it's chaotic.
The intensity just kept increasing.
Yeah.
And it started at kickoff.
Very little drop-off or mistake, and they just keep playing that really good futsal. This is what it's supposed to look like right here. There's no doubt that the environment, it's a part of what makes the game what it is. But I think, like, this is a game that if you took all that away and you just watched the game, it would be amazing still.
You're watching the Futsal Champions Series on FCS Live.
They're currently down 2. Here's Hindich at the near post. She slots it in. What a placement.
Yeah, fantastic.
From number 9,
placement.
Medina Hindich. We take another look.
That's what,
wow.
You know, Ole has to be frustrated with the goalkeeping.
I was pleasantly surprised with how we did. I feel like we did compete to the level that we could. I think you could definitely tell, like, our lack of experience. I think some of our goals were generally just some mistakes, and I think it's like a combination of nerves and just not, having the experience playing at the pace that we were playing. It's really fast, and I think if we tighten that up, like, we could have, stayed really, like, there with them, which is cool. I think for our first game, especially going against a team like Ole, I was really proud of the way we played.
Yeah.
Made a fantastic play. You want to make that pass to the back foot and really give your teammate an opportunity just to slide it home first time, but Aldama was not able to handle it.
Midwest are able to work it up. How about this back post? A pretty goal. Raul Montañez doubles the lead.
Look, Aldama could not handle the pass to put it away himself, so he said, you know what, Montañez, I'm going to give it back to you, Raul. With a little back heel flick, just roll over, give it back to him. Montañez.
You're watching the Futsal Champions Series on FCS Live.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the third half. I'm Jared Kleppel, your host tonight. This show is brought to you by Jolt Creativity. Destroy the lie that says, I am not creative. We just had Coach Pearse Branigan of Detroit Imperial on the show a little bit ago. If you missed that, go back and take a look. We talked about his early years, how he got involved, how he switched from wanting to be a meteorologist to now coaching Detroit Imperial futsal. So check that out. They have a big game this weekend against a Chicago House squad that is surging. They're on the rise. 0-5 to start the year, now 2-5. And we brought in a very special player to chat and to introduce him. I want to show you a little bit about his experience in their most recent game. Take a look. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome to the show Vinni DaSilva of Chicago House. Where is he? There he is. There he is. Ladies and gentlemen, Vinni DaSilva of Chicago House. Vinni, thank you so much for jumping on the show after that. What was 3 goals, 2 assists performance last game? 4 goals? I totally forgot now already.
Yeah. Yeah, thank you for having me.
Yeah, absolutely. So we're going to get into talking about the Chicago House season and how, the slow start, turning things around, and all the way up to last week's game where this man had 4 goals and 2 assists. And then this coming weekend, another big one for Chicago House. But first, I'd love to get to know you, Vinni, a little bit more. If any of you in the chat want to ask any questions, feel free to put them in to get to know this man here playing for Chicago House. So, Vinni, tell me a little bit about your experience growing up and getting connected with the game of futsal, which I believe one of your earliest memories was actually out of state in Florida at a young age.
Yeah. So I started playing futsal at a very young age, I would say. I started at around 8 years old. And I just picked it up from there. Around I want to say 12 or 13, I competed in one of my actually biggest tournaments. It was called United Futsal, and it was pretty much just teams all around from the country. So I saw teams from Brazil, Spain, Jamaica that I actually versed. So it was a great experience, especially at a young age like that. And that's what really opened up for me, the world of futsal, and how there's really levels to it. And I fell in love with the game right after that, and I saw the levels, and it was amazing.
That's really cool. Now, did you grow up playing soccer before you got introduced to futsal?
Yeah. I started out with soccer. Grew up playing soccer at a very young age, and yeah, I got introduced to futsal also at a very young age, and I stick with both of them, and it was very good.
Do you ever feel like there's been this competing for your time and attention between the sport of soccer and the sport of futsal?
Yeah. They're definitely the time and everything, playing both. It's definitely a big part of my time.
Yeah.
So definitely finding time for both of them was pretty tough, but I eventually managed it. So
yeah,
it's good. It was good.
Yeah, that's good. Maybe this is putting you on the spot a little bit. Do you like one more than the other, or are you kind of still treading the line?
Yeah, I always get that question. I would say, I do. I think I actually do prefer futsal a lot more. Just
Wow.
the game's a lot quicker, and
yeah,
I feel with my I would say I have like a pretty much good skill level. So with that, I mean, I enjoy way more the quicker game and just what I'm capable of doing on the court.
Yeah, we've seen what you're capable of doing with the ball, especially on the attack. We saw, I know you saw, I think, a part of the clip. I got it to you kind of in the middle of it, but in the last game, making defenders miss and getting assists and goals there. One of the things about futsal is how under a microscope everything is in the game, right? Like we talk about it all the time on the show. Like you can't hide in futsal. Like everything about how you play is totally exposed. What was a moment for you when you kind of like realized this about futsal, where you're like, wow, yeah, like, everything is like tense, under pressure all the time in this game?
Yeah, it was actually it was from that tournament where I realized like that's where really everything opened up, and I saw like levels to the game. I saw the competition, how really actually competitive it is, how you really need to be everything, a defensive player, attacker player, and yeah, that's where it really opened up for me, and that's where I actually fell in love with the sport, futsal, and I love it now.
That's awesome. That's really cool, man. Well, before you jumped on the show, you told me about another experience that you had actually going to Brazil to experience some futsal there. Tell us about what that was like for you and kind of when that happened.
Yeah. I went to Brazil around, I think, 2023. That's part of my background a bit, Brazilian. So getting to experience playing futsal out there was definitely a whole different level. And I saw just the technical and everything of all the kids out there, and like the difference and everything, and it was a very overall great experience to play out there.
That's really cool. I know not many people get an opportunity to go and play in situations like that. Is there any example that you can think of in your mind while you were there where it like made you realize, like, you probably knew, okay, the level here is different, but something that happened that it's staring you in the face, like the level here is different?
Yeah, for sure. I remember a certain game where I was there, and after I built up my like defensive rate, but just the skill level over there is so different. Like every player, not one, like literally everyone on the team that I played against, all had like the same skill level and different skills they would pull off, and it was beating me, and I was going crazy, I was I was all over the place. So it's just crazy to see every kid with the same skill level and some even better. Like it was wild to see.
Yeah, that's really awesome. That's really awesome. We're going to get to, I see a question in the chat talking about your start to the season, and we're going to get to that in just a moment. But before we do, there was another journey that you told me about in futsal, and it was actually this past summer. You were selected on a team with Dusan Yakica to go and play in Spain. I think you, Rafa, and Ishmael all went. Tell me about that experience for you guys.
Yeah. We went the past summer. Yeah, it was a great experience. We played against Spain, of course. We played against Morocco, France, and just to see the skill level for them and how they play, I learned a lot of things and picked up a lot of things. And over here, futsal in different countries is way different than futsal here. I see, like, when I play here, like, futsal is a very quick sport, a fast sport. In different countries, it's like even faster. So seeing that when we played against Morocco, Spain, all those big country clubs, teams, it was definitely like a eye opener, and it was a great experience overall.
That's awesome. That's really cool. Any moments on this trip that stick out to you as particularly special?
Yeah, I mean, just the players I was with, the team bonding, everything. Like, just I was there for a week, and they felt family. It was a great experience, and just really what like shocked me the most was just like how competitive the other country teams were. It was very good.
Wow. That's awesome. Yeah. Looks like there's a little fight going on in the chat between two of your teammates, Ishmael and Angel. They want your jersey next game. And someone said, I asked first. They asked first. I don't know. So you'll have to talk with them, maybe during training to figure that one out. He doesn't know what to say, guys. Leave him alone. I'm just kidding. Great to see the support of your teammates in the chat. Okay, so that kind of brings us. That was this past summer, correct?
Correct, yeah.
Okay, and so right around that time, Chicago House is getting their first look into the FCS through the tours in Lansing and the National Showcase. What was it like for you guys in that first experience in the FCS in those two tournaments?
Yeah, coming in, we were all excited as a team, to be a part of that. This was the first start of like something big for the club, Chicago House and futsal. So we were definitely excited coming in, and yeah, we wanted it from the start, and we did end up losing. I think it was the finals, so we did come a long way from that. But yeah, the summer was very good and good experience for us coming into this right now, this season.
Yeah, I remember in the National Showcase, you guys had that one game against Shoreline for the first time, the first full-length game of the National Showcase tournament. You guys go up on them by quite a bit, and then they came back. And that was the one, anytime we talk about it, we talk about like the last 15 minutes of that game. We almost just like throw out because it was like a wrestling match. You probably remember that. It was like,
yeah.
I've never seen. I mean, we've talked about it a bunch, so I don't have to say anything, but it was wild. And then you guys face Olay, and you actually, in one of the shortened games, you guys almost beat Olay. I know that was probably not a great memory for you because you guys were up 1 and you end up losing. Tell me about the emotions you guys experienced in that game and then following it up to make it back to the final after that.
Yeah, that was definitely very frustrating, almost succeeding win over one of the best teams in this league. So yeah, to lose and come up short on that game was very frustrating, especially the last minute 2 goals. But I mean, hopefully one day we'll get that revenge later on in the day. But yeah, it was definitely during that moment, it was frustrating, and
yeah. So that kind of brings us to this season. This goes back to one of the questions in the chat as well. The way you guys started was at 0-5. It wasn't obviously what you guys were playing and what you were hoping. Even based on what we had seen in the summer, it wasn't what I expected from you guys. Tell me about what that time was like in going through those kind of grueling loss after loss. I want to get to where things, kind of started to turn around. But before that, tell me a little bit about what it was like to be in that place where you're like, yeah, this isn't going the way we want to. And it, how did that feel for you guys?
Yeah, it was definitely a slow, frustrating start for us. We did the first couple of games, we actually didn't have training sessions together as a team. So to start off like that, it was pretty, I would say it took a toll on us. So yeah, starting off 0-5 wasn't the best, but turning things around, there's a different mindset, and with our 2 great coaches that we have, we're fixing things in training as well to prepare for games and just doing things differently. So
yeah, that was going to be my next question is turning things around. After the 0-5 start, you guys beat a Lansing team that has looked very dangerous this year. And then you guys, last weekend you beat Midwest, another team. They made it to the finals last year. They made it to the finals of the FCS 2 years in a row. This is a good team. The record doesn't look great this year, especially after you guys won. But 2 games now in the opposite direction. What kind of sparked this for you guys that the turnaround, started?
Yeah, definitely getting those trainings in definitely helped. With our coaches too, doing special trainings that we're working for. And I think also just our mindset overall as well. Like pretty much like every game we have so far, our first half has been pretty tough. So I feel like especially last game against Midwest, going into that, losing first half, the second half, like during our halftime, we came with just a different mindset as like thinking of it differently. And I feel like that's really helped and changed us these past 2 games was really our mindset. And I think that's what really helped us overall.
Yeah, let's actually talk a little bit about that game, Midwest and Chicago. So, like you mentioned, you guys went down. I think it was 3-1 at half, and then you come back, outscoring Midwest 7-2 in the second half. You had 4 goals in the game, 2 assists. Tell me about this. What was different for you in the second half in this game?
Yeah, I still think that, like, to myself, like, I really don't know what sparked it, but I definitely I would say, we were 3-1 down, and I told the guys during half, this is a 0-0 game. Anything can happen in futsal. And I feel like previous games when we were down 3-0, 5-0, whatever the score was, I feel like we were just down overall, and like our heads were down. So going into the second half against Midwest 3-1 down, I told the guys, this is a 0-0 game. We can come in, just give it all you got, and this is like a win or death game. Like, if we lose this, we're done. And I think just our emotions and everything show that we still want to fight for this. We want to be in a final this season, so we just showed up and secured the win.
Yeah. Yeah, that was, I think, for me, both games that happened in the weekend, your guys' and the one, Detroit and Lansing, both went different than I expected. And it really sets up for this game that is this coming weekend where you guys host Detroit Imperial. We just had Coach Pearse Branigan of Detroit talking about this one. But, I mean, this is a pretty big one for you guys. You've already played 7 games, and you only have 3 left. The best record you guys can get is a 500. Don't know if that's going to be enough to make the playoffs or not. There's one team in the league, Innovation, that also has struggled with an 0-5 start, and they, they're also new to the league, but they're a brand new team. I mean, they didn't exist before last year. They're doing something very hard, and the results, are reflecting that. So we kind of understand what probably to expect from them as far as, how it might go on the records. Only 2 teams don't make the playoffs, so it feels like maybe there's a little bit of pressure for you guys that you probably have to win out to get a playoff spot. I mean, maybe not, but does that exist on your team? Like, do you guys kind of feel that pressure?
Oh, for sure, yeah. We from the start we wanted to be in a finals game this season, so it's that there's definitely pressure on the line, especially our record so far. But yeah, we're looking forward to hopefully winning every game from now here. So.
Yeah, so let's focus in on this one here. You guys are playing Detroit. First time you're going to see them this season, and the only time you'll see them. You're playing at home for your second-to-last home game. They're at 4-1 right now. They've only lost once. They've played 3 different teams. There's some teams they haven't seen yet. They haven't seen Olay or Midwest or Shoreline yet. But they're eyeing, to get to the top of the table with a win. What do you think it's going to take from you guys to put a stop to their ascension and for you guys to get your 3rd straight victory?
Yeah, I think we just keep up with our defensive rate that we have been these last 2 games, and just play as a team, That's the most important thing. And yeah, I'm ready to secure a win this weekend and stay undefeated in the new year,
Yeah. Yeah, so you guys are 2-0 since 2026, so that's nice. That's nice for you. One of the players for Detroit Imperial that has, I mentioned with Pearse Branigan that has been a huge impact for them is their goalkeeper Emerson Mena. You guys haven't had a chance to play against him, but what do you think it's going to take to beat a really top class goalkeeper like Mena?
Yeah, for sure. We were seeing. I definitely have some ways that I think we have some ways as a team that I think will work to get the ball in the back of the net. But yeah, I see some key parts that he has that we got to look out for.
Yeah, that's definitely. I think he had, I think it was like 27 saves in the last game. Pearse Branigan was talking about how he's averaging, I think, around 23, 25. So he's definitely no stranger to that. Awesome. So that's this Saturday, 8 p.m. Chicago House is going to be hosting Detroit Imperial. And I believe maybe this is, you can say, I don't know if you're not allowed to answer. But I know Rafa Hernandez is injured. Are we going to see him back, or are you not allowed to say?
Can't say. I guess we'll see.
Can't say. I guess we'll see. So we'll see if Rafa Hernandez, he's been out on injury for a little while. We'll see if he's back for this game. And then after you guys play Detroit Imperial, it's 2 more games in the year. You travel to Lansing City once again, or you play them again, but this time in Lansing, and then you finish the year out with Innovation. So just kind of wrapping up this portion here. After Detroit Imperial, you guys will see Lansing in Lansing. You were able to win at home, but now traveling on the road, playing in the arena. What do you expect that game to be like, and what do you think you guys are going to have to bring in order to win that one?
Yeah, Lansing's Field's no stranger to us. We've been there a couple times. So, I mean, just from now on, starting this weekend and up, I'm ready to get wins. I think we're ready to wins. So I'm ready to take 3 points this weekend and on to the rest. So
1 game at a time for you guys.
Yep.
Yeah, absolutely. Awesome. Vinni DaSilva, Chicago House, everyone. Let's see. I think I might have saw a question in the chat. Let's see. Yeah, I think you guys have one of the youngest teams, I think, on average, if not the youngest team on average in the FCS. How do you feel like this has been either an advantage or a challenge for you guys this year?
Yeah, I would say advantage-wise, as being a young team, I would say our stamina is pretty well. We played, personally for me, I played a lot of minutes, and I think overall as a team, we could, I think we can outplay anyone with minutes-wise being out on the field. Disadvantage, obviously, is a lot of bigger guys, of course. But, we got to work that. We got to work our way around that. So, yeah.
Awesome. Well, last question here is if there's anyone in the chat that is wondering, hey, maybe I'm going to tune in to watch Chicago House play, Detroit this weekend, maybe not. What could you say to help say, hey, tune in?
It's going to be a great game, an exciting game, and I want to say we'll get the 3 points this weekend. So
hey, he's saying he wants to say they get the 3 points. That will be their 3rd straight victory if they do. And with just 2 games to play, setting it up one step further to getting back to 500 and hoping to get a playoff spot. Vinni DaSilva of Chicago House. Vinni, thanks so much for jumping on the show with us tonight. I really appreciate you.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
Yeah, you got it, man. Well, we're going to say see you later to Vinni DaSilva. Thank you so much for being on the show. And that game is this weekend at 8 p.m. I actually am just going to put this on the screen so we can go over the games that are upcoming. We do have a women's game at the Lansing City Arena at 5 p.m. Lansing City and Shoreline City, 2-0-2 teams are colliding at 5 p.m. in the Lansing City Arena, and one of them is going to get their first win. Also at 5 p.m., Innovation City facing Midwest United, hosting them in Akron. So after a little bit of a break, Innovation looked to get their first win against a Midwest team that has been struggling on the standings. They're a very good team. They have one of the best keepers in the league. Fikret Hasevich is really good. They have some really good players, but, they face some tough opponents, and they gave up a lead this past weekend to Chicago, so they're kind of in a tough spot with – after this game, they have some tough opponents again. They're going to be facing Olay once again. So that's an interesting one at 5 p.m. And then, of course, the one that we've been mentioning, it's Chicago House and Detroit Imperial Saturday at 8 p.m. There actually is a women's game on Sunday that I forgot to put into the graphics here. I'm just going to confirm which game that is so I say it right. I believe it's the Chicago House women's team are going to play or maybe it got no, there it is. Yep. So Chicago House and Shoreline women are also going to be playing on Sunday. So Shoreline women are going back-to-back this weekend. 4 FCS games that you guys can tune into this weekend. Lots of futsal, both men's and women's. Thank you so much for tuning into the third half tonight. I'm Jared Kleppel, and along with all the rest of us at the FCS Live crew, thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you guys in the next one. Good night.